Hey guys, if you know anything about Lamborghini, you know that the top dog vehicle they produced was the Aventador, but that vehicle went out of production, oh gosh, about a year ago. But now there's a new top dog, and it's right there. It's the Lamborghini Revuelto, and it is the fastest, it is the quickest, it is the most powerful Lamborghini ever produced. And in this video, we're going to do a complete hands-on walk around. I'm going to show you all the cool features. We're going to talk about what makes it such a technological breakthrough. We're going to talk about how much it costs at the end of the video, because by the end of the video, you're probably going to want this. But let's start kind of at the beginning, which is the design. So if you're a fan of Lamborghini, you'll know that the Countach was first, the Diablo, the Murcielago, the Aventador, and now the Revuelto. And as you can tell, there's a strong family resemblance in all of them. The same thing for the back of the car. You can see how the vehicle has progressed. Now, the Revuelto is available in about 400 different colors, and the designers said it was inspired by a spacecraft, hexagon and the letter Y. So let's go with the letter Y, because that's kind of Lamborghini's latest and newest design language, and there are Ys everywhere. Of course, there's a Y right there in the taillights. There's a Y right there in the wheels. You see the Y right there on the side of the car. And of course, perhaps the most, well, before I show you that one, let me show you that one. There's a Y right there in the instrument cluster, or binnacle as the British like to say. And of course, there's a Y right there in the headlights. Now, can you see Countach in this? I can. Now, the other thing that makes it unique, and very unique, is something that is, well, let me show you, in the front, because this is the first ever. Are you giving any idea there? It's a little hint. The first ever, giving you hints here, there's another hint. First ever plug-in hybrid. Yep, it's a plug-in hybrid. And under the hood is a frunk, but more importantly, in the frunk is a socket where you can charge up the battery. And usually, of course, it's in the frunk, so you probably won't be charging the battery at a public station. And that's because this is more of a performance vehicle meant to give you a top speed of, get this, 350 kilometers an hour, or about 223 miles per hour. And that's because the battery is pretty small. Now, it lives right there in between the seats. It's a 3.8 kilowatt hour battery, and it will power the Revuelto for about 11 kilometers, up to about 80 miles an hour. But what makes it unique isn't any of that. It's what's under the body. This is a brand new design, ground up design. What we have here is, if you remember the old NSX, a very similar setup. So there are two motors in the front. They're not connected by a drive shaft to that glorious V12 in the back, but in fact are electrically powered. There's a third motor back here. They took the V12, and check this out, it's completely exposed, and they flipped it around 180 degrees. So in the Aventador, it faced the other way with the transmission going toward the passenger compartment. Now the transmission goes, well, let me show you, goes toward the back. And they put a motor back there, giving it a total engine output of just over 1,000 horsepower. Move the seat, there we go, you can pop the hood, sort of, kind of. It's got an 8-speed automatic transmission, and there you have it. There are the power supply going to the rear motor, and of course that V12 produces 850 horsepower. Now, this is obviously for your mechanic, but you can use it to add oil to the car. But the engine stays uncovered, and that also helps with cooling, and I suppose doesn't help with getting dirty. Now, back here is a spoiler that you can put into 3 different positions, or it's dynamic and it deploys. Now, this is not like a Porsche 911 GT RS. It's not a high aero car. even though at 223 miles an hour, you probably want that. So let's talk about not just the powertrain, but let's talk about the wheels and tires. You can either have 21s up front and 22s in the back, or you can have 22s up front and 23s in the back. And these tires are Bridgestone. Aventador rolled on Pirellis. Now these are specially Lamborghini labeled Bridgestones that I suppose cost, I talked to the Bridgestone guy, he said they cost about $600 a piece, but I guess if you can afford this car, you probably can afford the $600 for a new Bridgestone. And these are 355, 255 RF22s in the back. That is a massive. Those are ceramic brakes, of course, that do regen power back into the battery. And another number that's pretty staggering, 0 to 60 in just 2.5 seconds. So let me show you something that's really unique on the inside of the car. I'm gonna move my seat back because they have made the cabin a little bit bigger, but excuse me, I didn't mean to put my fingers there, but they also have made it more comfortable. It's got this kind of double hump, almost a gurney bump. I just drove it on the track with the helmet on, and at 6'2", I'm still pretty tight in here. Let's face it, scissor doors are not the easiest to get into. So what Lamborghini did is they basically got rid of all the buttons and left just the ones you need. So for instance, over here, you still have your mirror buttons, your open your door buttons, and of course your window buttons. Over here you have the classic jet fighter style start button, reverse. Over here, hazards, fuel gauge, but that's about it. And keep in mind, this 8-speed dual clutch does not have a reverse, so when you put it in reverse, it actually uses the electric motor to move the car backward. Now, some other cool features, and some of my favorite things in here are 1, 2, 3 screens, and this is kind of out of Star Trek or Star Wars. Let's say you want your passenger over there to be able to see the G-forces that you're generating when you're going around the track. So what you do is you take 2 fingers and you swipe this across, and it appears right there in the passenger binnacle. You can do the same thing over here. Say you want to know what the G-forces are. Once again, 2 fingers, swipe, and it replaces the binnacle right there. Now, let's talk about this, because there are a lot of cool features on the steering wheel. First and foremost are these 4 buttons. And if you're a fan of Lamborghinis, you'll know that this is your drive mode button. So when you spin it, it gives you Strada, Città, I suppose that's city, I'm guessing, Strada, Sport, and of course Corsa, which is racetrack. And all these buttons, all 4 of them are dual function, so if you hit this button, push it inside, it actually activates the launch control to get your 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds. Now over here, this is an interesting button. This button, when you pushed, activates the front leveling or basically raising. So when you're going down or up a driveway, you don't knock off the front spoiler, raises the front. But if you turn it, it changes the damping on the shocks. So what you can do is you can have it say in Corsa mode, which I have it in right now, and you can soften up the shock so that the ride isn't as stiff or isn't as harsh, or vice versa. You can have it in, let's say, street mode. Let me go there. Come on, street mode. There we go. Strada. I think Strada is street or highway. You can have the Strada right there, as you can see. Let me zoom in for you. Right there. There's your little gauge control, and there's your. We'll get to that one in a second. You can have it in Strada mode, but then you can go over here and you can change up right there the damping of the shock, so you can have it nice and soft. Now that's pretty cool. Now more coolness is right there, EV, and if you press this, of course, you get complete EV mode, which allows you to go, like I said, about 11 kilometers, up to 80 miles an hour, 130 kilometers an hour in all electric mode. You can turn it, and then that allows you to either recharge the battery or go into hybrid mode, and that control is right there. Let me spin it around so you can see it here. Come on, spin around, spin around. Maybe I'm going the wrong way. There we go. And recharge mode is basically allowing that big V12 in the back, 850 horsepower to recharge the battery. Now, I was talking to the engineer who designed this car, and he said that there will never be an instance where you will run out of power on the track before you run out of electricity in the battery, because the battery does a bunch of really cool things. It allows you to have, get this, torque vectoring, and because this car is set up with it, rear wheel steering. And that's not just because of the battery. So because you've got two independent motors in the front, you can actually have the car push you or pull you around the corner. And a lot of cars have it by braking. So basically what they do is they brake the inside wheel. Not this car. It will actually shorten the corner by accelerating the outside wheels and then slowing down the inside wheels. And that's because, like I said, there are two independent motors on the front and then one in the rear. And that's pretty darn cool. And he said the point of that was to make this car have the emotional context that Lamborghinis always have. In other words, with that V12, what could happen is when you have that much electronics going around, in phase and out of phase steering, electric motors in the front, regen braking, it could make the car like a video game, but they worked really hard at Lamborghini to not have it be a video game, but to have it be an experience that, is good for the body and fun for the soul. All right, let's keep talking about these buttons now. This button is kind of cool. It allows you, well, it says not available, but basically it allows you to have 3 different settings for the rear spoiler. So you could raise it manually, or you can spin it and have it, raise up to 3 different heights. And it will deploy automatically by itself if you have it in the right setting. And something else that, of course, Tesla has done and popularized is not cruise control. You think these would be the turn signals, they're not. That's cruise control. And this is one of the first Lamborghini, not Urus. Let me zip in so you can see it. They've got a bunch of Uruses over there. So the Urus has, had full ADAS. In other words, the ability for the car to, see the lines and have semi-autonomous driving. But this is the first Lamborghini sports car, or in this case, supercar, that has ADAS, allowing the car to, have blind spot monitoring, emergency braking, all the stuff that you would expect from, a regular car. This, on the other hand, like I said, is cruise control. Now over here, kind of like a Tesla, you have your turn signals, left, right, and off. And this is not the first Lamborghini that has had them. So, I asked Lamborghini about this because a lot of people in the Tesla world, especially the Tesla Model S, hate this. They like the regular stocks. But they said, we've had this before, and so our customers are used to having it. So if you're used to, steering and operating your turn signal, you'll be happy to note that the Lamborghini has it in here as well. There is a glove box, which is kind of cool because oftentimes supercars don't have that. And then there's all kinds of different, TPMS, all kinds of different parameters that you can set. Let me go back right there to basically configure your car from dynamic point of view to HVAC. I would rather have real buttons for HVAC, but this is the world we live in today, so this is the world we get, and that's your home button right there. A little thing for iPhone. There's a little charger that's hiding under there. It does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which I think is really nice. And then if you look, of course, the seats are covered in leather, Alcantara everywhere. There's this kind of cool stitch pattern here in the ceiling, French stitching, and a lot of different colors. So you can mix and match your Lamborghini basically to your own taste. And as you can tell, I'm sitting in a comfortable driving position. I do have enough headroom, but if you put a helmet on, and if you're tall, you're probably going to be driving it like that instead of like that, or really leaning back. And I just did take the car on the racetrack, and I got to tell you, it's a pussycat of a car actually, because of all the electronics. It does allow somebody like me, who's a novice on a very high-speed track here outside of Rome, to actually go and take a 1,000 horsepower car and not be terrified out of my brains to take it on a high-speed track. So that was nice to see. But yeah, the interior is beautiful. It smells beautiful. It looks beautiful. Giant carbon fiber paddle shifters, carbon fiber roof, aluminum doors, carbon fiber front cover, carbon fiber rear engine cover, and of course, scissor doors that go up like that. What more could you want out of a supercar? Let's see if you can get a little sound. There are guys out here doing video right now, and they're driving them around. So maybe I can let you listen to the exhaust on that 12-cylinder if we get lucky. Here are, of course, 2 different wheels that you can have. All kinds of cool interior materials and colors. There's very different cars here and many different car combinations. Oh, I hear one. There goes one. Let's zip out to the track, and maybe he'll go flying by. There's another one. But let's go out to the track. Let's go see if we can get him coming around the track so you can hear him. Hopefully we can. So you get the sound of that incredible V12. So hopefully he'll come around the track, or maybe not. Somebody doing stand-ups there. Gosh, a lot of Uruses. Oh, he's coming in. Anyway, you probably hear him when he comes in. So let me zoom in on him. Yellow's cool. I think I'm a big fan of the orange. And there, of course, is the classic Y pattern in the headlights. It does have a lot of Aventador in it, but probably, a wider car, a few centimeters longer. And you can see what it looks like. I'm going to ask him if he can, hey, can you, I'll ask him, can you give me a little bit of throttle so I can hear the engine? Can you do a little bit of, let me go back there, hold on. Okay, go for it. Yep. That was very good. You scared me. Thank you very much. Yeah, there you have it. So for those of you who love internal combustion engines, don't be afraid. There it goes. That's what it sounds like on electricity alone. Now this is kind of a car that's really a hybrid in both the way that it drives, but also as a bridge into the future. Obviously, whether you like to hear this or not, the entire automotive industry is going all electric, and Lamborghini still wants to keep that emotional sound of the car. So they've taken 4 exhausts back there. Can you see them? That looks so cool. Imagine flames coming out at night. How bad that would look. How badass that would look. Love this too. Love the exposed engine. But yeah, it's a step into the future where you still have the passion and you still have the thrill of the 12-cylinder, which Lamborghini has been known for, obviously, but yet there's electrification to make it not really economical. Because I can tell you this, I asked the engineer what the fuel economy was, and he said that it was 30% better than the outgoing Aventador. And I looked up the Aventador, and that was getting 10 MPG combined. Those are the sports seats, by the way. So figure the new one is, or this one is now 13 MPG. So if you're looking for a hybrid that's gonna, compete with a Prius, you're barking up the wrong tree. And you'll note these are the sports seats, manual controls, no electric controls, carbon fiber, more bolstering. So if you really are going to use this as a track car, you probably want to consider getting the sports seats. Now, I asked why they didn't do, this is the fuel opener, and I asked why they just didn't put the electric charging port right there. I mean, it seems to make sense, right? It'd be nicely symmetrical. And they said that you can drive this car basically without ever plugging it in because the engine will recharge the battery. So they thought that owners would only plug it in at home. So that's why they put the port in the front, which seems kind of counterintuitive, but certainly, Lamborghini does what Lamborghini wants to do. And Lamborghini is really on a roll right now, mainly because of that. So that, of course, is the Urus. So far this year, they've sold over 7,000 cars, and the belief is that that number is just going to expand, especially with something as cool as that. Look at that. I love that wheel, the way it's turned. Orange is my favorite color, by the way. I think if I had, and here's the price, $600,000 to spend, I would certainly consider this as, one of the choices. It doesn't compete with a lot. Is it SF90 Stradale is one of the competitors that goes head-to-head with this at $600,000. But really, does it compete with anything? In the supercar world, I'm not sure, especially given the fact that if you want one of these, it will be available by the end of the year. But, and this is a big but, they're sold out for at least the next 2 years, even at $600,000 per car. Let me show you the, let's see if this guy has the regular seats. So this one has not the sport seats. They're also beautiful, much more comfortable, but these are electric, and so you don't have all the issues. Sorry about stealing your car. I'm out of here. I didn't want to steal his car. There's a lot of cars here, and there's a lot of journalists. Let me show you. I don't think I can walk over there, but in case you're curious what some other colors are, there's a green. There's a bunch of matte colors. That's kind of far away. But overall, yeah, I really think that they've done a great job with this car. And if I had $600,000 sitting in my bank account, this would be certainly one car. How about you? Are you gonna buy one, or is $600,000 a little too much? This is one of the designers, right?
Yes.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Did you pen this yourself?
Yes.
Yes. You know what must be cool? Like as a designer, right? You love big wheels, but most designers who do like Toyotas, they do big wheels, but they can never put them on the real car.
No.
But here you have 23s.
22. 21, 22.
But you can do 22, 23, right? No, I thought it was 22, 20.
It's 2021 or 21, 22.
Okay, sorry. Well, thank you for correcting me. I appreciate that. See, I would have been wrong. Anyway, there you have it, guys. Thank you for joining me for this walk around of the new Lamborghini Revuelto. I always want to say Aventador. Revuelto. Is that right? Did I say it right? Revuelto. Yeah, I got to be Italian. Yeah, beautiful car, beautiful color, and yeah, beautiful price. All right. See you guys next time. Ciao.